What's up? This is Mark Henninger here at Audio Advice Live 2023 in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm with Chris Deutsch, who is with Barco at the, I guess you would call it the ultimate home theater demo at this show, which is it's quite an incredible show because it is a consumer show that has the kind of home theater demos that I'm used to seeing at industry shows like CES. And especially CEDIA, but now here at a consumer open, to just somebody who visits show, you can see this full range of home theater options, including really just what you call the pinnacle, which is to bring commercial cinematic gear into home theater context and then go beyond because of you have so much power at your disposal. I'm going to let Chris take it because he knows the details of what they're doing here. But the theme I want to really hit on is that a home theater is the environment where you can most achieve director's intent and have a reference viewing experience. And here's why.
Right. Thank you, Mark. And so what you're seeing in our main display back there is a Barco Njord. And in fact, it's a Barco Njord Cinemascope. So tying it together with the commercial side, I am Barco Residential. I'm with Barco Residential. And we take the same Barco chassis that are used in our commercial product, and we adapt them and we tune them for residential use.
Okay.
So that Njord is based on our UDM chassis. And as a commercial projector for Pro AV or small cinema applications, it can produce up to 30,000 lumens. Okay. Wow. For residential cinema, we tune it down to 12,500 lumens on the 16:9 version and 9,000 lumens on the CinemaScope version. So 16:9 is 3840 by 2160. CinemaScope is wider, it's 5120 by 2160. And that's what you're seeing in there. So CinemaScope projector matches CinemaScope screen.
Okay.
And I believe that's a 173-inch screen. And we're shooting it from about 195 or so inches away. So we had to bring a shorter throw lens. I think 1.16 to 1.49, if I've got the numbers right. And that allows us to hit that size screen from that distance. And that's the beauty of what Barco offers, the right amount of brightness for virtually any size screen, along with the right lens to let us reach that screen.
Yeah, so how many lenses? I saw you changing the lens using the mechanism.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so how many lenses do you have, and what kind of range can you cover with those?
So good question. And each Barco series is a little different. Let's again focus on the Njord in there.
Right.
So if we had an imaginary 10-foot screen, that makes it easier for me to do the math.
Yeah.
We have 9 different lenses for the Njord, and we can hit that screen from as close as roughly 5 feet.
Wow.
To as far back as well over 100 feet. I think about 108 feet.
Okay.
On that hypothetical 10-foot wide screen. And again, we're doing that with 9 different lenses. 4 of them are considered standard lenses. So every Barco projector includes a lens in the price, but no Barco projector includes a lens in the box.
Got it.
We're going to have a conversation with the integrator, going to do a little math, going to figure out the right lens. If one of the standard lenses will work, then great. If not, we will give them a credit for the value of that standard lens, and we will sell them the more specialized lens, either the shorter throw or the longer throw, as the case may be.
So that's almost like photography, where you get your kit lens, you can choose a kit lens, but if you want that super telephoto because you're into sports, or an ultra wide, because you're into architecture, then you're going to have to buy a more expensive lens in essence.
Exactly.
Okay.
The thing I love about it is we're able to, in most cases, give the customer exactly what they want. If they say, I think a 200-inch screen is right, and I want to put the projector over there. And this is the kind of room I'm in. We can, again, it all comes down to math. We can do the math. We can figure out what's going to work in terms of brightness, what's going to work in terms of optics.
Right, and you wouldn't do it as an all-in-one zoom because optically that would diminish, and it would be too large and complex and basically maybe even impossible.
Just like with photography,
right.
A prime lens is probably your best bet.
Sure, less distortion, less aberration,
right.
brighter.
But a shorter, more a lens designed for a more specific application with a shorter zoom range is generally going to be preferable to a lens with the biggest possible
the travel zoom.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just for tourist shots. Or okay, so that makes sense. And beyond that, I suppose, right, this kind of an investment in a projector, you change, you build a new home theater, you have different requirements, you pop the lens off, you put a different lens on, and you're in essence, it allows you to upgrade your room instead of your projector, because you might be at end game stage if you own one of these to begin with.
Certainly, that's always an option. Right.
So the idea here is, or at least that I'm pursuing, is that what we're looking at in there can exceed what people are used to seeing in like even a commercial cinematic context, because you can take HDR mastered material, tone map it, and project it at higher brightness levels than even like a Dolby Cinema or an IMAX digital. And that what the potential benefit would be for that, because of course you could watch more than just movies on these systems, but even if you are watching a movie, we know the home grades are basically graded at higher levels than any commercial cinema is showing, but these projectors can do that, right?
Well, yes, and so let's talk about Barco DCI projectors.
Okay, let's talk about that first.
These are, in many cases, the exact same chassis, the exact same projectors that we sell for commercial cinema.
Okay.
And Barco has roughly 54% of the worldwide commercial cinema market. So if you go see, right now the rage is Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Of course.
A little bit back it was Indiana Jones. If you go to see one of those movies, there's a very good chance you're seeing it on a Barco projector.
Yes.
And you can get that same Barco projector in your residential theater. And we are going to, again, because we may not need as much brightness, because we're not trying to fill an auditorium with 150 people. So brightness is no longer the main concern. By tuning down the brightness and then changing out some of the internal components, we can improve the contrast. We can use specific high contrast lenses to further improve the contrast. We can change out the laser diodes to better meet the residential spec. For example, most of our DCI models do 100% of BT 2020 with an RGB laser diode array. And so again, we're taking what we can do in a commercial cinema and we're making it better, because we're generally dealing with rooms with anywhere from 8 to 40 seats in a luxury residential theater, as opposed to 150 and up in a commercial theater.
A starting point is you can afford whatever Bel Air circuit, you're getting your actual DCI delivered to your home, you're watching the movie, and then you're actually going to meet those exact specs professionally as if you were like a perfectionist, but you're actually going to have a higher performing projector because of the smaller screen size and the controlled environment that you're in.
Exactly.
And that you're, okay.
And at the same time, you can push a different button and you can watch Netflix on the exact same projector.
And that's mastered at 500 nits, 1,000 nits, something crazy.
So we've got both systems in a single projector.
I see.
We've got the consumer content capability, and we have the ability to work with the original encrypted content from Hollywood. And that's specifically for those DCI projectors.
Well, that happened to me this year, because I went to Hollywood. I was watching, it's a mastering and really getting an idea for what's going on. And one recent criticism was that the Avatar Way of the Water, whatever release, was only like cut off at 200 nits, the HDR, and they're like, why'd they do that? And of course, the answer goes straight to Technicolor or whoever, is that the directors don't want their movie looking wildly different at home than in a theater. So that speaks to actually preserving director's intent and going, making DCI perfect for that ultra discriminating customer. But they exactly said that if you're coming up with a TV show, then you're going to know that that the first viewing is going to be on a 1,000 nit HDR capable display that's probably got an incredible gamut. Triple lasers are out there. So maybe there's some production design ahead of time thinking in those terms. And so that's interesting that this projector, unlike consumer projectors that maybe max out at 2,000 or 3,000 lumens, can do the HDR properly. And that's what I saw in the demo.
And keep in mind, these are consumer projectors. So again,
okay, yes.
So anything that
HDMI
Barco
goes
Residential sells is 100% intended to go into someone's home.
Plug in your PlayStation and your Apple TV and your Blu-ray player.
It's just these may be
Also,
customers that also have a need for that encrypted content because either they're in the business or they know someone that's in the business, and so they have access to both. And some people buy these projectors and never play any DCI content at all. They buy them because they want to get the absolute top of the line, the absolute best optics, for possibly the absolute largest screen size.
Right, because there are many things that can take advantage of that kind of quality, not just
absolutely.
movies. So tell people a little bit about the advantages here. You're a gamer, you get low latency. You're into sports, you get higher frame rates. It's not just locked into 24 frames per second, cinematic, right? I mean, what can you do with this?
So the key thing with Barco in terms of gaming and in terms of latency relates to our processing. A lot of display technologies have a gaming mode, whether it's a projector or whether it's a flat panel TV. And so Barco does not have a gaming mode because every mode is essentially gaming mode. No matter what processing you're using, you can be using our warp engine because you needed to put the projector over in the corner. You can be using our tone mapping feature. You can be using our cropping on our CinemaScope projectors to zoom the image and fill the screen. It's still going to be 19 milliseconds or less in terms of latency.
Okay.
And so that is absolutely fantastic for gaming.
Right on, because I know some pro gamers are earning like NBA max salaries, so maybe you'll start seeing them build gaming arenas in their homes instead of screening rooms. Just speak a little bit about what is actually in there, the demo that I saw.
What we've got in there, we've got a Barco Njord Cinemascope. We're feeding into a Lumagen video processor, and then we're using a Seymour Screen Excellence CinemaScope screen. I believe it's 160-inch width and 173 diagonal, and I think Chris had it done exactly to a 2.37 aspect ratio to match our projector. And then the audio is StormAudio, and the speakers are Focal, and it's a 9.4.4, I believe.
It is, yeah.
So you've got center, front wide, side, back, and 4 subs, and in the ceiling, a very understanding hotel to let us put 4 Atmos speakers in the ceiling.
Sure, yeah. And that's why it sounded so good. And to make a specific point, they used all tower speakers in there, and it's really, a no compromise system to go with the projector. So I'm very impressed because you're taking basically a hotel ballroom and converting it into a theatrical experience. And I think you'd mentioned, and I agree, black drapes would have been the one thing that could have brought it a step higher, but really the way it looked was fantastic. And
Thank you.
And I really noticed in some scenes, especially the ones that supposed to take place outdoors, that there was a reality to that sunlit environment, you know,
Right.
the ubiquitous Maverick clip, you know, just watching fly through the desert. And you're like, yeah, that's sunny. That's yeah. So
That's high dynamic range. It's that wide color gamut. It's that brightness, those highlights.
Yeah.
You know, seeing all of that.
yeah. And beyond that,
makes it real.
yeah, and beyond that, what I noticed is that even though it's very rich in color and all that, it didn't look fake at all, and so that tonality created a depth to everybody's like faces that elusive OLED-like 3D look is present in these
I agree.
scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
Fun to be able to do that.
So yeah, great show.
Thank you.
Yeah, my first time attending. It's second year, and I hope
Our
it keeps
first time as
going.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Well,
Cool.
yeah. See you at
Thank you,
Media.
Mark.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. A couple of weeks away.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.